And so they sent samples of mud from the trench to a man with a very strange profession indeed. Carlos Alvarez Zarikian is an expert in microscopic water animals found in soil. He studies ostracods.
An ostracod is a little tiny shrimp that lives in a shell that looks like a peanut with two valves. And they only grow up to 2 millimeters, like from 1 to 2 millimeters at the most. And they swim, they dig into the sediments, they crawl on the algae, and you can find them everywhere. You can find them in fresh water, in the lakes, as you can find them in the sea.
Ostracods vary in shape depending on whether they are from freshwater or seawater. Alvarez Zarikian is one of the few people in the world that specializes in telling them apart.
Freshwater ostracods are very smooth and thin-shelled, as is the case in this example from a freshwater ostracod. You can see how smooth the shell is, which actually many times is used in the identification. In this other case, we have a marine ostracod, and you can see how the ornamentation is different. The ornamentation is much heavier than in the other case, in the freshwater ostracod. You have a much thicker shell, and you have many other features that is very unlikely you will see in a freshwater type.
If he could find marine ostracods in the soil, then this could be evidence that the site was Helike. Mounted on a special plate, he placed a tiny crustacean in the electron microscope and began his analysis. The pattern of the shell showed the creature had definitely come from the sea. Not only that, but amongst the sediment, he found sea urchin spines, fish scales, and other marine creatures called forams.
This ostracod, along with all of the other fossils that we found in this sediment layer, are very important because they tell us it's the only piece of information up to date that these ancient buildings were actually covered by the sea.
I was delighted, of course. This was to me the first really strong evidence that everything had come together, that this was a classical dated material buried in the sea. It must be Helike. What else could it be?